Well, this crisis has really hit the economies of the region hard, and they will see a year of bad growth in 2009, but the expectation is that most economies in the region will grow again in 2010. The outlook is better today than it was in the crisis of the 1980s, for example, the so-called lost decade for growth in Latin America. And the difference we find is that even if most of the economies in the region are more open today than they were in the 1980s, more open to trade flows, to capital flows, they've also built up mechanisms of resilience to better withstand this kind of external shock. And so while the outlook will be a difficult one, it's much better than the situation was in the 1980s, for example. This is a long-term phenomenon. And it's an interesting phenomenon because it can bring benefits not only to migrants and their families, but also to Latin American countries and to the countries to which they migrate. Now, in order for the benefits from this kind of migration to be maximized, this has to be a shared responsibility between countries of origin in Latin America and countries of destination, whether it's in Latin America or in OECD economies. And in order to be a shared responsibility, we offer some recommendations in the report. And these range from difficult things to more readily available policy wins. For example, extending social protection to more migrants. Too often when migrants move from one country to another, they lose their access to pensions. And this is a simple step that could make many migrants better off. As I said, Latin America has done very well relative to past crises because of these resilience mechanisms that they've built up. And so the principal recommendation would be not to abandon this hard-won effort in the current context, not to abandon the fiscal resilience, not to abandon monetary resilience, central banks that are credibly maintaining price stability, for example. One area of resilience that's been less developed and that is probably even more important in the context of the crisis is resilience of social policies. And in the context of unemployment and other effects of this economic crisis, it's especially important for governments to do whatever they can not to lose ground in terms of combating poverty.